You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Time to take your coding break. Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Coding Break Podcast with Tam Talk. I am your host, Tam Talk, here to talk about all things good, bad, and the ugly as it relates to the medical coding industry. So today I want to answer a question. For those of you who are new to the Coding Break Podcast, again, we use this platform to talk about the elephants in the room or to address questions that were posed. And so perhaps the world would like to hear what's really, how we answer that question. So again, I have a question from a medical coder. The question is, how do I develop the confidence to I won't say to become a medical coder, because this person isn't a medical coder, but how do I develop the confidence to do? I would say perhaps they have a specific task that they're trying to do as a medical coder, and they may not have done it before, and so they're trying to develop the confidence or the confident level that they need in order to do it well. And so, as someone who's, like I said, I've been in the industry for a long time. I'm not going to state the years because it's been a long time. Because it has, trust me, I've seen how this industry has changed or how it has evolved. And I will say that when I first came on the scene as a medical coder, I did have some lack of self-confidence issues that I had to work through. To get to this point where I'm sitting here talking to you, trying to provide practical tips and strategies on how to become confident as a medical coder. Now, these tips that I'm getting ready to share with you, these are tips that I still use today because, again, I don't know everything. I don't know a coder who knows everything there is to know about medical coding. We only know what we know. And then half the time, we still don't know what we think we know. But I'm going to share with you my practical tips that have helped me to develop confidence in particular areas. Not in all areas, but in particular areas that may help you develop your confidence as you journey into your journey, I guess, of medical coding. That didn't sound right, but it'll help you along the way as you evolve into the successful medical coder that you want to become. So the first thing is practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. And I'm saying that over and over again because you have to practice. Yes, you are certified, but you still have to practice. You have to practice in the area in which you want to pursue as it relates to medical coding. Or you have to practice those jobs, those skill sets, those job functions that are required of your, I would say, of your role as a medical coding professional. So practice makes perfect. So I would use me as an example because I love using myself as an example to bring it home. So I guess different seasons of me, I wanted to be a leader. Of course, I practice. I wanted to be a presenter. I practice. Did I get it right every time? No. I solicited help. I practiced. I practice in front of my colleagues. I practice with. Let me go back. My practicing actually involved me actually doing it, right? So did I make mistakes? Yes, I made mistakes. I had the mindset that I'm supposed to know it all because I'm certified. That means I know everything there is about coding. I don't know everything there is about coding. That was then, and today I can prophetically say or emphatically state, whatever the right term is, I don't know everything there is about medical coding. I don't proclaim to know everything there is about medical coding, but I will say this: I do know what I know, right? I do know what I know. So there's that. So again, when I wanted to be a presenter, when I wanted to be a trainer, I had to practice, which meant I had to get in front of individuals to present, whether that's through my colleagues, whether that's through provider education. I had to present. And then like I said, I want to be a leader, so I had to, of course, I guess presenting, it was part of being a leader. I had to perfect that, right? I had to perfect that. I solicited mentors. I practiced in the mirror. I practiced like with recordings or whatever, but I practiced, and then it became perfect. And sometimes you will be live, right? You will be live when you're practicing, which means you have no time to rehearse in the mirror. You have to do it live, and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, and which I want to say, you're going to make mistakes. Accept the fact that you're going to make mistakes when you're practicing or when you're performing the task. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. They're not detrimental, because there's this saying like, never answer a question that you don't know the answer to for sure, because it can backfire. It impacts the confidence or the listener or I would say the provider. It impacts their confidence level within you. Okay, I mean, that's true. But if I'm in the midst of training or educating, I'm not thinking about that. I mean, I'm thinking about it because I'm not in front of the person. But when I'm in front of the person, I may not be thinking that, or in front of the group. Now, if I'm definitely unsure of the questions that's being asked, I'm not going to answer it. But if if it's more of an intimate one-on-one type of thing, I will be more comfortable to say that, hey, I don't know the answer. I have to research that and I'll get back with you. Or if I don't know, I'll say I don't know, right? But again, you have to practice. You're going to make mistakes. And so what, you may have given, I won't say incorrect information, not fully incorrect, but somewhat of incorrect information, but you're going back and researching and fixing or correcting the mistake, you were able to get it correct. Speaking of which, I've communicated and I've trained and I've coached and I've educated providers, hundreds of providers, different specialties, different issues, what have you. I made mistakes, and the providers never, I'm going to say I don't know about it, or they didn't publicly say I didn't know what I was talking about. They didn't make me feel weird. They didn't make me feel like less intelligent. They didn't make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. And actually, some of them have written recommendation letters for me because I was down to earth. I was honest about not knowing, or I was able to get the correct information to the provider, right? So I say all that to say, and this is for someone who's trying to be in leadership, who's trying to be in education, where you're educating providers or you're educating team members, colleagues, staff, like coding staff. It's okay. And we have to give ourselves grace. And I would say, from someone who is in leadership to someone else who is in leadership, and so you know that an individual is trying to develop the skills to become better at presenting, better at public speaking, better at just whatever area that they're trying to improve upon, grace. Give them grace, because you too, grasshopper, also had to learn had someone to give you grace. You had to learn. So again, you develop confidence because the person that you're that's working with you, they give you grace because they too understand that they also had to start, and so on and so on. So yes, so it's okay. And I think once you know that you have grace bestowed upon you, it automatically boosts your confidence. Like I said, the doctors that I have educated, the staff that I have educated, or what have you, they gave me grace. Because if we're honest, public speaking is like the most fearful thing. People will touch a snake right before they get behind a microphone. Again, people will touch a snake before they will get behind a microphone because they are being judged by their peers, right? They are being judged by their peers. No one wants to be judged. No one wants to be judged. So I say, if your peers allow or afforded you grace, it's going to boost your confidence level. It is going to boost your confidence level. Again, remember, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. Even behind me on this podcast, I don't know everything. Even me with my years of experience, I don't know everything. Even me still, 30-something, almost 40, not 40, but 30-something years in the game, I still don't know everything. But I give myself grace. I give myself grace to know that, hey, I'm not perfect. When we stop learning, when we stop learning, when we stop giving each other grace, then I pose the question, what are we doing with our life? What are we doing with our life? Life is supposed to be an ongoing, evolving, change, growth, development situation, right? But it's also enwrapped in grace, forgiveness. We understand human. We understand that people are human, and we have to allow that for individuals. And I say this again: if someone will afford us grace, our confidence level will go through the roof. If someone would afford us grace, so if you can understand that someone, I would say, read the room, you know that they don't allow grace, then those are not your people. Those are not your people. Find someone else to mentor you. Find someone else to coach you. Find someone else who will afford you the grace that you need to make mistakes. Now, I ain't saying go out there and just make mistakes all willy-nilly, because mistakes are bound to occur. Mistakes are bound. They are going to happen, and it's okay. Just learn from it. Learn from it. Are you going to learn it this first time after you make it? No. But you don't want to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, because then that's a habit. That's a routine. This is you. This is who you are. We get that. But if this is not who you are, you're going to make the adjustments. You're going to make the corrections. You're going to improve. You're going to get better. And you're going to get on the microphone like myself, and you're going to make jokes. You're going to laugh. You're going to teach. You're going to educate. You're going to get in front of providers, and you're going to be confident in your skills, and you're going to and you're going to be okay with saying you don't know. It's okay. It's okay. And so I say all that to say is, yes, practice makes perfect. The next one is give yourself grace. If no one else gives you grace, give yourself grace. You're going to make mistakes. And then, again, actually, it boils down because you're asking for help with your mentors. Ask for help. Ask for help. There are people who probably have practiced more than you, or more confident than you in a particular area. Learn to ask for help. It's okay. It is okay. Now, I will say that me asking for help, that was a struggle for me, because not that I knew everything, I've encountered a lot of people that did not afford grace, right? But I'm overcoming that. Like I said, I'm overcoming that. And so I ask for help. Another thing that has helped me is I use my strengths to help me. I understand what my strengths and my weaknesses are. And so my strengths are, I love leadership. I have leadership skills, but that came again with the practicing and someone mentoring me and teaching me. I also learned that I don't want to say I hate public speaking. I hate the old traditional way of public speaking. I have no problem public speaking. I'm speaking to you publicly right now. I love, and I thrive off intimate, conversational communication, as in I can do this podcast like I'm talking to my I would say my girlfriend, my best friend, right? I feel like I bowl over well. My training bowls over well when I have more intimate communication. I don't have to be dressed up. I don't have to be in front of an audience. I don't have to be, skipping over my ums, because I am an girl. If you had no, I am an girl. I love it, right? But when I'm most comfortable, the less ums you'll hear. Let me repeat that, because that just hit me. The more confident, the more comfortable I am in an environment or in a public speaking environment, the less ums you'll hear. So yes, so people usually do ums when they're not prepared or they're uncomfortable. I'm comfortable having this conversation with you via my podcast, right? So yes, the next thing is I know my specialties. I know what specialties I'm great at, and I also know what specialties I'm not so good at. Like general surgery, of course, girl, everything general surgery, right? So I'm comfortable with that. Do I know all the codes for all the general surgery procedures? No. That just means I'm comfortable with it because I've practiced general surgery coding for years. I am a credentialed general surgery coder. So I am comfortable with it. I know what to look for when I'm doing general surgery coding. I know how to parlay or regurgitate that information to my listeners or to my learners or my students on general surgery coding. I've written a book on it. Not a big book like a novel book, but I've written a book, Practical Steps on How to Dissect the General Operative Report as it relates to general surgery. Okay? And it sells. I've trained coders like as an auditor. I've trained surgeons. I've trained surgeons on how to do general surgery coding. But I've also trained other coding colleagues on general surgery. So I've had experience. Do all of us agree, other surgery coders? Probably not. But, I do what works for me, and I thrive in that. So you have to find what works for you. Whether that is a specialty or whether that is some other character skills that you may have, you need to find what works for you. And if it works for you or you thriving in that, run with that. And the universe will bring things that are in alignment with your strengths and allow you to be successful. Now, when I say that, now we still have our weaknesses. We are still developing and we're still working on those things. And eventually some of your weaknesses will become your strengths once you have practiced and you have perfected that. But until then, you want to make sure you play to your strengths. How do you like presenting? Are you an intimate communicator like myself, or you for the crowds, or you for the streets, as the culture would say? I'm for the streets. I need to be in a large group. If that's you, then you need to focus on that. You need to focus on the things. Let me go back. Focus on the things that are your strength, that you're great at, and then allow room to work on those things that you're not so great at. Again, being a certified medical coder doesn't mean that you know everything there is about medical coding. You won't. You don't. You will forever be learning. And I cringe when I said that, because I am one's like, you don't need a whole lot of certifications. I mean, you don't. I mean, you can read up on it. You can research it. You can take a course, a webinar on different areas of specialty, but you don't have to become certified in it. Not unless you want to. I choose not to become certified in a whole lot of specialties, but that doesn't mean I don't know them. That doesn't mean I don't know. So yes, so let's recap. Have grace for yourself. Definitely have grace for yourself. Practice, and practice some more. Understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Operate in your strengths, but at the same time, continue to develop your weaknesses. There you have it. So that's it for the coding break. I think we're running over on our coding break. But there you have it. So again, how do you develop confidence as a medical coder? And also, I've dropped a blog post on this topic as well, because some of us like to read and some of us like to listen. And I'll probably do a video showing my face so that you can see me talk to you about this as well. So that's it for the coding break. And as always, remember to code on. Until the next time, toodles.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.